Hey, what's happening, everybody? It's your old pal, Mr. Butter, coming back at you. It looks like 2022 is just about in the books. Although for resellers, the sneaker game has kind of cooled off a little bit. I think we got some serious heat this past year, and I put together a list of my top 5 favorite pickups from this past year, and I want to get into them with y'all. Also, stick around to the end because I want to kind of share some ideas of where I think I'm going to take the channel for 2023. I'd like to get your input on that and see what y'all think of it, and just kind of bounce some ideas back and forth with y'all. The channel has continued to grow. It's been a great year. Let's get into these kicks. Before I get into this first pair, I want to specify these are in no particular order, and these aren't my top 5 pairs that dropped for the whole year. This is my top 5 pairs that I was able to get through the year. And also, I think worth noting, I got all of these for retail, which is a huge plus in my book. But without any further delay, let's look at the first pair. So first up, we have the Bodega New Balance 9060s. They call these things the Age of Discovery. I should say that an honorable mention would have been the Protection Pack 2002R in the Mirage Gray colorway. I really thought that that was going to make my top 5 list. However, this dropped not long ago, and I think every angle of these things is a masterpiece. I love the combination of colors. I love all the textures. The packaging is insane on these things. These retailed for $180. I got these from the Bodega website, and I am just over the moon to have these in my collection. I really think that this might be my favorite New Balance that I have in my collection. This is only my second pair of 9060s, but I think these things are absolutely phenomenal. I'd be doing these things an injustice if I said that I like the 2002R Protection Pack more than what I like these. I just think Bodega and New Balance knock these things out of the park. I have a full review of these, so maybe I'll put that down in the description if you're interested. I don't think resale on these is crazy for the moment, but I could see this being a shoe that gets extremely sought after the more time goes on. So that's my first pair on my top 5, the New Balance Bodega 9060 Age of Discovery. All right, and for the second pair on my list, this is actually the only shoe that I haven't done a review of yet. This is the Tom Sachs General Purpose shoe in what they're calling the Studio colorway. I think they call it that because everybody that works there at Tom Sachs actually wears these shoes as part of their uniform, so I think that's really interesting. I really wanted a pair when these first came out, and they did a number of drops where you would go to like Nike Craft, and it was like a raffle. You would enter your email and that sort of thing and what size you wanted, and then you would just wait to see if they sent you an invoice, and then you could check out. Well, I struck out probably 4 or 5 times. I don't know how many times they dropped. There was this, and then a golden kind of colorway, like a yellowish color, but I think they did multiple drops of each color. I kept striking out, and it was really, really annoying because I kept seeing the same people were getting multiple pairs. Like, the same people were getting W's on every single drop, and I just felt like I could never hit on this shoe. Well, then just before Christmas, I think it was in December, they did one more release of this original colorway, and this happens to be my favorite colorway, and sure enough, I was able to hit my personal size. It is kind of weird that they do these in women's sizing. Be sure if you do order these that you get them 1.5 sizes up if you're a guy, because I saw where a lot of people did mess up on that. But this shoe is so simple, and there's really not a lot of like flashiness to it at all, but it is just so cool looking. I don't know what it is about it, but this thing just looks like an instant classic, and it's just brand new. I don't have anything else like it in the collection. I always like getting something that has a new feel to it, a new style to it, and I think these will be really easy to rock. I'm not going to wear them while the weather's like this, but this is a pair that's definitely staying with me, and I plan on rocking a good bit. The suede is all a really nice material, but then the base is kind of just like this breathable, it's like a knit. It feels kind of stiff. I heard that there is a break-in period, but I love how the midsole is kind of like a gum color, and then you just get a classic waffle type tread pattern on the outsole. But all around, I think these are really, really dope. A very classic looking shoe. It doesn't look like anything else I have in the collection. So this is the second pair in my top 5 pickups of 2022. Before I get into my third pair from my top 5 of this year, I wanted to make all 5 of my pairs that I put on this list pairs that dropped this year. I did pick up what was really a grail of mine. I have been going after this pair as many times as I've seen them drop. I bet you I've taken 7 or 8 L's on this specific pair, but I feel like I had to throw these in because it's an honorable mention. They didn't drop this year, but it is one of my all-time favorite pairs of kicks, and that is the Yeezy Wave Runner. I have wanted a pair of these for so long. I don't know what it is about these. It's the color, it's the shape, the materials, all the different textures. It's just everything about these, I think, is done so well. It's so unique, and whenever you see it, there's no mistaking that is a Yeezy Wave Runner. Shout out to my local shoe store. It's called Pine Avenue Vintage. If you're ever in Western Maryland or the West Virginia area, then definitely stop in and check out Pine Avenue Vintage. They'll do you right. But I was actually offloading some Dunks there, and these were on the wall. I didn't even know what size they were, but I said, hey, do you have any Wave Runners in my size? And the ones on the wall just happened to be my size. I think I traded the Crush DC SBs and then just another pair of Dunks for these straight up, but it ended up, whenever I did the cost in my head, it really came out to grabbing these for retail, and I was all about that. It felt like I finally got a W on these things without having to break the bank. This Yeezy Wave Runner is seriously one of my favorite Yeezys of all time, if not my very favorite Yeezy of all time. And like I said, it just seems like I have never been able to get a pair of these, but finally, thanks to the guys down at Pine Avenue Vintage, I was able to get my pair in my size, and it's dead stock, and I plan on just running these things into the ground. So that's an honorable mention, but now we'll get back to the list. So number 3 on my top 5 pickups of 2022 is the Yeezy 350 V2 in the Onyx colorway. For me, I'm a huge fan of the Yeezy 350 V2. I know that's one of those silhouettes that a lot of people, oh, those are, you know, those are a thing of the past. Nobody's into them anymore. I still love them. I have so many different colors of them. It's a shoe that I just think is really easy to wear. When it comes to 350 V2s, they look so good in this black upper. I already had the bread colorway, but if I'm being honest, I might even prefer these to the Yeezy Breads. I just think all blacked out. I like that it has the heel tab. On some of them, it doesn't really matter to me, but I think these look so good with that heel tab on there. It just kind of balances it out. But an all black upper, a black midsole, I think these things are absolute fire, and I'm really, really pumped to have these in the collection. 2022 was a pretty bad year for Yeezy and Adidas. I really did want a pair of the Pirate Black 350 V1s. However, I think getting these might be enough to kind of satisfy that itch. I don't know. It's hard to say. I go back and forth on if I'll buy more non-Yeezy Adidas Yeezy silhouettes. I kind of feel like if he's not involved with it, then I really don't want it. And I know that people have differing opinions on that. All that being said, I think this 350 V2 in the Onyx colorway is absolute fire. Once again, this is a pair that I got for retail. I think I got these from the Confirmed app, and I guess retail price was probably right around like $230 or something like that. But I just think this shoe is absolute fire, and I'm pumped to have these in my own personal size in my collection. And so I know that in the beginning I said that these were in no particular order. However, these last two I'm going to review are my top 2 pickups from this year. These two are just so good in so many different ways. This is without a doubt my top 2 pickups of 2022. First up, we have a pair that I think probably made a lot of people's lists. This is the Jordan 1 Chicago, or the Jordan 1 Lost and Found. I think that this shoe was done so well. I have never had a Chicago in my collection, let alone in my own size. I was able to get this pair from my local Finish Line through EA. So big shout out to Finish Line. I probably got more W's from there than anywhere else this year. It feels so good to finally have a Jordan 1 Chicago in my collection. I know some people aren't really feeling this cracked leather and the aged look that we have up around the collar, but for me, I really like that detail. I don't really look young and brand new anymore. I got some gray hairs and whatnot coming, so I don't mind this aged look. Like, for me, I feel like it works pretty well with my kind of style. I also think that the Jordan brand did a phenomenal job on the packaging of these things, making the box kind of mismatched. They put in that little receipt that made it look like it was handwritten. And just the story behind these, like it's a pair that was kind of lost in the storage room of a mom and pop shop. I think these things are phenomenal, and I'm just ecstatic to have these in my collection. So this is the 4th pair, but definitely one of my top 2 pickups of the year, the Jordan 1 Chicago Lost and Found. Finally, the last shoe in my top 5 list, and one of my top 2 favorite pickups of 2022, is the Jackie Robinson Dunk Low. Not only do I think that it looks great, the materials are great, the style is dope as dope can be. However, I think that these shoes commemorate such an important time in history, being the 75th anniversary of when Jackie Robinson first played in the major leagues. I think that every now and then you see where an athlete or a superstar or something like that can kind of bridge the gap between humanity and sports, or whatever their platform might be. And I think this shoe is such a good representation of what Jackie Robinson was able to accomplish. This shoe may not have made a lot of people's lists, and it might not be one of the top shoes for a lot of people. However, if you just take a minute and think about what Jackie Robinson did, not just for baseball, take baseball out of the picture, not even just for sports, take just sports out of the picture, but really what he did for our country, for humanity. This was 75 years ago, and he was the first African American to play in the major leagues. And I know it couldn't have been easy for him. I can't imagine, you know, the obstacles he would have had to overcome, but he had all eyes on him. And not only did he bridge that gap and break down that barrier and become the first player, but he also became pretty much the best player at that time, you know? So there was no denying that he deserved to be there. And I just think that Nike really did a bang-up job on these things. The quality is phenomenal, and I think that the quote that they put on these shoes is just, it honestly gives me chills whenever I read it. But the quote that they have all over the shoe is, "I'm not concerned with your liking or disliking me. All that I ask is that you respect me as a human being. And I think those are such powerful words. I think that the style of this is dope. And I just think that this is a shoe that I will never part with. I love it when shoes tell a story, and really these tell such a heartwarming story, and it's motivating, it's empowering. I just think these shoes are phenomenal. This might be my favorite shoe of 2022. Even with picking up my Chicago Lost and Founds and that sort of thing, this very well could be my favorite shoe of 2022, simply because of what they stand for and what they represent. So all that being said, the Jackie Robinson Dunk Low, the 75th anniversary of when he made his debut playing in Major League Baseball, this is the last shoe on my top 5 pickups of 2022. So with the shoes out of the way, I really want to take a minute and get into the theme that I've been thinking about for 2023. 2022 has been an amazing year. The channel has been up and running for 2 years. We've got over 5,000 subs. I think I have like 1.7 million views. I didn't really imagine that it would grow at this rate, but I am thrilled that it has been. As we've been growing and as the channel has continued to, show promise, I've continued to buy as many pairs of shoes as I possibly can. Whether it's a shoe that I can resell, a shoe that I want to keep, whatever, I have just been buying. I think in this 2-year span, I've done around 700 videos. That doesn't mean that I've had 700 pairs of shoes, because of course I've done shorts and then I've done extended reviews on feet reviews for the same pair, but also sometimes I've hit 2 or 3 pair of one shoe, so I very well could have bought 700 pairs of shoes. But all that being said, I have been sinking an incredible amount of money into investing in this channel. What it's left me with is a pile of shoes in my office, in my garage, and whenever I walk down there, it kind of gives me a bad taste in my mouth. It kind of makes me feel, a little bit guilty. I don't need all these shoes. I'm very glad that I've been able to make all this content for y'all, and I don't plan on stopping the content. But what I would like to do is see if I can kind of shift my way of doing things. If I can take the channel from a position of me just buying everything with my own money, just out of pocket, paying for everything, I would like to see if in 2023 I can support the channel and keep the channel running simply based off of shoes that I already have in my collection. So the way I'm thinking I would do that is come up with a pile of shoes that I'm thinking I can use to start up a fund for 2023. I actually have already started thinking about it, and I've sold the first pair out of that pile for my 2023 sneaker fund. And really my hope is just, I want to cut down my collection. I only have 2 feet. There is not enough time in my lifetime to wear this 200 plus pairs of shoes. There are definitely shoes that I want to keep in my collection that even though I haven't worn, there are shoes that I don't want to part with, and I plan on getting into some of that with y'all. There's shoes that I like, but they're worth a nice chunk of money. So in order to fund the channel, I'll probably go ahead and part with some shoes that I like, and I'll probably let you know whenever that's a little bit difficult for me. One pair I keep thinking about is the white Oreo 4s, and I just keep going back and forth, but I picked up all these new white 4s this year, so do I need the white Oreo 4s? No. And I just plan on going down that road and kind of sharing with you all my thought behind what I'm parting with, what I'm picking up, my way of thinking. I don't know if it's going to be possible or not. I don't know if I'll be able to keep the channel going and fund the channel solely on making money off of selling what I have in the collection, but I think it would be a neat challenge. I have 2 kids that are in high school. They'll be going to college soon. They'll be driving soon. I have a 4-year-old. I would like to retire early. I would like to make wise decisions. I would like to set up my family in a way that they don't ever have to worry about, you know, where money for bills and necessities is going to come from. As dope as it is to wear the coolest, most hyped up shoe, nothing is cooler than having no debt, you know? And I have accrued some debt from buying all these shoes, but like I said before, I'm blessed to be in a position where I can grab all these kicks and make all this content for y'all. But it has just been piling up and piling up and piling up, and it's time for me to kind of do a purge. So when I'm thinking about 2023, I really want to see if I can support my channel this next year strictly off of funds that I've made by selling some of my current pairs. I may be setting up an eBay store so that y'all can go and look and see if you want anything. Almost everything is like size 10 or 10 and a half, just because when I buy shoes that I like, and I have bought them in my size, because if I can't resell them, if I am stuck with them, I wanted to be able to wear them. So for 2023, I really just want to give you guys a better picture of my whole thought process. I would like to share with you what shoes I'm moving out of the collection to start my 2023 shoe fund, and even let you guys know how much money I have put back for shoes, how much I spend each month. At times I might have to go through and pick out more and sell more to support the next month or the next video, but I think it'll bring a neat aspect to the channel. And I really want to know what you all have to say about it, because this isn't just my channel, and I wouldn't have been doing it all this time if I wouldn't have seen the success, if I wouldn't have been talking to you guys the whole way through it. And I really am interested in seeing what your thoughts on kind of taking the channel down that road would be. But anyhow, it's been a phenomenal 2022. I am so grateful to all of you who have watched, who have subscribed, who have talked kicks with me. And I think this is only the beginning. I can't wait to see what's on the horizon. And I'll catch y'all in 2023. I'm out.